Radio Exterior de España.
English Language Service. Greetings from Madrid. Well, I'm joined in the studio today by Sonia Mejías and Eva Guillamón, who are responsible for what we are just listening to, which is a recording of the premiere at the Teatro Real of the cantata Somos Naturaleza, We Are Nature. Mm-hmm. Sonia Mejías was the composer of the music, and Eva Guillamón was the librettist.
Yeah, and also the staging director.
And responsible for those beautiful costumes.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
All right, well, let me hear about this event, because I was not able to attend, and my colleague Gil did, and he said I felt when I watched the video, my hair was on end. It's tremendously moving, 120 children on stage. Tell us about it. Sonia, begin with how did this happen?
Yeah. So this was organized by a foundation that is called Acción Social por la Música, like social action for the music, with the Aula Social of Royal Theatre, and this is kind of el sistema of Venezuela in Spain, of choirs and orchestras of kids, of children. So they called me to work with them because I have been working with El Sistema in El Salvador, in Central America, and then I made this proposal to them of making a cantata, and then I asked Eva to make the libretto, and she told me yes. So then we started to do it.
And this was a process that took some 2 years. Is
yeah,
that right?
It was a very long process because the way we worked together was sometimes I wrote a text and she put the music in, and sometimes we did the opposite way. So sometimes she wrote some music and I had to write some verses to adapt the text to this music. So it's a very slow work.
I see that you started in 2015, I believe, working on this.
Yeah, actually, even before, maybe in
Even before, 14.
14.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the theme, Somos Naturaleza, We Are Nature. What is the story of this cantata? Because it is a staged story, a fable.
Of course. When Sonia told me if I wanted to write the libretto, I thought, okay, let's talk about nature and our relation with nature. That sometimes, well, it's something very delicate, no, in terms of how the earth is. So this is a story of the trees in the forest that they think they have to help the trees in the city because they are very weak. So they go to the city, and once they arrive to the city, they start to discover all the dangers the trees have to live with, no? And so, well, they start a kind of fight against citizens because the citizens they don't understand trees, and trees don't understand citizens. With police, they have some problems also, and at the end they quit. So they come back to the forest, and then when they arrive to the forest, they realize that the trees in the city, they still need them. So they come back and they start a strike. How do you say photosynthesis?
That's photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis strike. So they stop they work so the citizens can breathe. So, well, it's like at the end, the Mother Nature has to stand up and to talk.
Yeah, and the narrator of all this story is the moon. So she's watching everything from the sky, and then she's telling how trees are moving and everything.
Yeah, she's telling to the public, he, it, whatever, is telling to the public what's happening.
Yes, now the moon is the main character, it seems, or at least the biggest presence in Wonderful Right.
Yeah.
But there's also a pianist in red.
Yeah.
There are all of the trees, which are the children's choir. Is that right?
Yeah.
What are the other components, musical and dramatic?
There's also
an adult choir.
Yeah.
That is represents humans and policemen and policewomen. And the orchestra, that is not a character actually, but is just
is that a mixture
helping.
of children and the professional orchestra of the
professional orchestra?
This one was professional, but it is originally created for a children's orchestra with an adults orchestra. But in this case, we had to do both orchestras with adult people.
Okay.
Yeah. And what else? The duende. How do you say duende?
The duende would be an elf.
An elf. Yeah.
Yeah.
The elf is the character that tells to the trees that they have to do something because nature is dying.
So is it the elf or is it the moon that says it's time to go on strike?
The trees, actually.
The trees.
The moon only tells to the public what's happening.
Could we listen to that?
Yeah.
The huelga.
Aumento de temperaturas en invierno y verano, subida del nivel del mar que se tragará poblaciones enteras, aire cada vez más contaminado que será peligroso respirar, expansión de las grandes tormentas y ciclones al calentarse el agua de los océanos, carencia de agua dulce para beber y cultivar debido a la falta de lluvias, terremotos, aumento de los incendios, ¡huelga!
What she was saying before the declaration of going on strike was a series of meteorological horrors that we may expect under climate change. Is that
and it's some of them are still happening.
yes, happening already?
Yeah, happening already.
Exactly. No, she was listing them, and how was it working with the children with this theme and hearing them come in and sing? Did they understand and did they feel the subject matter? Children tend to be so much more, closer to animals and nature than adults.
Yeah, well, these kind of children were very special because some of them had some problems.
Learning different
Learning, for example.
Autism, some of them. And mainly it was the musical director who worked with them to learn the songs, and she has been working with them for a couple of years actually. Some of them were from the beginning learning the songs, and she's a fantastic conductress, and she I think they felt very deeply the emotions of the songs because of her good work with them.
And sometimes I think the learning with children happens in a very different way. No, they don't use mind so much, so they feel, and it stays with them. So
well, I wasn't able to be at the premiere, but I did see the video, and you see the children feeling like trees, looking at each other, moving with the music. Absolutely silent when the moon is speaking or when the others, and captive, and it's a tremendously emotive.
Very good work by Nuria Fernandez, and also Eva, she did the choreography with them of going up and down, moving like trees.
Very complicated because sometimes during the rehearsals children were bored. And because sometimes in the rehearsal you are bored because lots of things are happening at the same time. So sometimes you are not the main character, so you have to be there waiting. So in the rehearsal it was very difficult, but at the end, during the performance, they were fantastic.
Yeah, they were coordinating very well. Also,
the play, no, they were really in the play,
feeling. And also we cannot listen to the group of dancers, and they were conducted by Marina Ayan, and most of them had Down syndrome, and they were fantastically dancing, and with the choreographies that she prepared with them, with so patient and very, very good.
No, and get to that later because at the end we'll play a little bit from the end. You had two endings because the embraces that the children gave each other, the pride, but it was also such a wonderful experience for the audience, the adult audience. You had professional musicians. The pianist was an extraordinary performer, and also sang, that we'll hear in a bit. But how many rehearsals were you able to have? How much time were you able to?
All together we were rehearsing in the Royal Theatre, Teatro Real, and we were rehearsing there for a week, I think.
Yeah, maybe
more or
5 or
less.
6 rehearsals with most of the people, because for instance the children's, the dancers and the choirs were rehearsing for a long time. But then the instrumentalists, since they were more professional, they had a couple of weeks, and then all together, and the adults choir, they had only 1 week, I think, because they were all the teachers of the choirs, and then all together, we had
a week, I think.
Yeah, a week.
A week, like 3-4 hours every day during a week.
Yeah, it's like there's always a lack of rehearsal, always in these cases, but it's okay.
Well, because we were more or less like 200 people.